afternoon. Welcome to the February 5th Park County Fire District 6 Board of Commissioners meeting. I'd like to call this afternoon's meeting to order and ask that you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which is the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I might ask for any additions to this afternoon's agenda.
None here.
None here. I did have one item, the schedule change for our February 18th meeting. I added that to new business. We'll need to read and approve, post as necessary, the minutes of our January 21st regular board meeting.
Second. Whatever he did.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Correspondence this afternoon, I didn't see a new packet. Citizen communication, citizens viewing this afternoon's meeting communicate directly with the board using the chat feature that will be monitored throughout this afternoon's meeting. See any committee reports? Moving on to the consent agenda. Move for approval. Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Chief's report. Chief Schmidt.
Thank you. First, number 5, personnel action reports. There was not one in the Dropbox there for you. But just want to let you know that we're continuing with our interviews for entry-level firefighter paramedic. We interviewed 6 people this week. We're going to do chief's interviews and skills assessment coming up on the 18th. So we'll be adding them to the list to put them as alternates as well. Next item, Dropbox number 6 is facilities project update, and I have Chief Newberry here if you'd like to ask questions about it, or if you'd like us to read the whole thing.
We'll run from May to June.
Yeah, indeed. No, we're now we're in June.
So I could just go down this, or
Yeah, that'd be great. Sure. Thank you.
okay. So the remodel updates, work is progressing again with an updated substantial completion date of June 4th, like I just said. The fire barrier, so the fire barrier problem has nearly been resolved, and a change order in the amount of $192,500 has been submitted. This will include the changes to the framing, drywall, acoustical ceiling, electrical, and fire sprinklers on floor 1 and part of floor 2. Further design is ongoing with additional work under a separate change order called GL5, which will be available in the coming weeks. We've also had a complex problem with some fire dampers, which penetrate the rated ceiling and have not yet determined a solution. I think we're pretty close to that. This has delayed finishing the ceiling, which is a precursor to all other finishes. These fire dampers and the GL5 will produce another change order. The fire barrier issue in the elevator shaft has been resolved and work there has commenced. Power, so there's another significant speed bump that we're trying to overcome regarding the power supply and how it impacts the other trades and the final occupancy. The delivery of the ATC automatic transfer switch discussed previously has been postponed until July. So this is yet another setback that we need to be adjusted for. We're hopeful that we can still receive temporary certificate of occupancy from the county in May or June. So they have a solution to work around that they're trying to get passed through, that we can get that temporary. Station 62, additional lockers to accommodate the 4 platoon new arrangement at 62 have been ordered. And then 63, a proposal for additional lockers at 63 to accommodate the 4 platoon is being reviewed for consideration. The HVAC unit is in the training building and has been installed. And that is that for the.
Do we have room for more lockers upstairs here? They're gonna be downstairs. They're gonna be upstairs.
Upstairs.
And match what we have.
Yes. Is that power switch? I mean, now it's out to July. Is this the only power switch around, or what kind of options we have? I think if I recall, this was ordered 2 years ago.
It was ordered in October, I believe, October of 23. So for a year and a half, and if I get close to a year and a half. But anyway, it's been quite a while. No, there's not other switches. These things are custom, unfortunately, and to our needs. It was supposed to be here in this month, and then, or maybe even last month, and then it was postponed. Then it was postponed again until May, and now it's been postponed again until July. Wow. Yeah, it's a big deal.
And that's a situation where if we needed to use a generator, we possibly could have the electrician come switch it over for us, or it was.
So yes, this is an automatic transfer switch, so ideally, when the power goes out, the switch recognizes that and it switches over to generator power. Without that, you have nothing automatically switching it over. But we are working on a procedure that we would follow in case of a power outage where power goes out, we contact our electrician, the electrician comes out and does the transfer manually to get us over to generator power. It will go off the new generator, so it'll power what we need it to. And our electrician is dynamite and very, very sensitive to our needs and very responsive to us. So it's not ideal, but we're hopeful that the county will allow it. So not a good reason why they wouldn't, but who knows? It's the county.
There's not a manual switch.
It doesn't work that way. So, but that is what they would be doing inside the box, but yes.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that update. Any other questions? We got a new business? Chief Schmidt, yeah.
Tool purchase for the truck, so Dropbox number 7. We need to make a tool purchase for the new truck before it goes into service. The tool complement was specified by the truck committee. The total for the purchase is $54,259.06. And this was budgeted for in the 2024 budget, and that was part of the purchase of the used tiller. This exceeds the chief's threshold and requires board approval. There may be some smaller additional orders for some supplies and some equipment, but this is the bulk of what the purchase is gonna need for the truck.
Is our current reserve truck, is it, can also be equipped? I mean, if for some reason the new one goes in for service or it goes back to here 6 times or whatever, we are gonna have to switch all the equipment over, the reserve truck will be pretty much good to go.
There's the truck committee put together a list for the full service truck. And then a list for a reserve truck that would not require us to move all of the equipment over. But it's also not easy to justify needing 2 full sets of tools, some of the very expensive stuff. So right now, the reserve truck is outfitted with the basics. And then if it's pulled into service, then stuff off the new truck would go onto it that was required.
Okay, thank you.
So that takes a board approval.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the chief to purchase tools for the truck in the amount of, it's upside down. $54,259.06.
Second.
Motion's been made. Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Get your repair.
Okay, Dropbox item number 8. So there's an invoice from Hughes Fire Equipment for repairs done to 6-44. These repairs are in the amount of $18,335.14. This engine had pump transmission issues and needed some of the repairs done through Waterous. And Brad is here to answer any questions if you have questions about that.
So we sent it to use and they sent it to Waterous.
Sent it to Hughes, they removed it, they were actually going to rebuild it. And for what the repairs were, it actually cracked the case. And so with talking to Waterous, they recommended we send it to them, which actually sending it to them, it was actually cheaper because they cut us some huge breaks. So, and they sent it to them, you know, just to make sure everything was in a line and everything was good, so. But yeah, that's the second time the case is cracked on that pump trans. Tannins did it the first time. But the reason I went to Hughes was for them to pull it.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment?
Yeah.
The reason that we got such a break through Waterous was because of this guy. This guy's created relationships all over this country, specifically with these manufacturers, reps that have come out, helped us with things, we've helped them with things. And it's, not only did we get a great price, but we got it turned around in like a day, maybe a day and a half. So it's unheard of.
They told us 5 days to get it there, 5 days to rebuild it, and 5 days to get it back. And I think we had it out there in like 3. They did it overnight, charged us no labor, parts only. And I even talked to Hughes today and he's like, he can't even believe, he's like, they screwed up on the bill. But I talked to Waterous and they're like, nope, that's the service we provide, so.
Wow.
Yeah,
Where did it have to physically go?
Minnesota.
So,
So,
how to get back there?
we paid for freight one way and Waterous actually paid for the freight to get it back.
Really?
So, yeah, it went from like a 3.5 week turnaround to like just barely a little over a week.
Thank you, Brad.
Yeah.
Work. So need a motion for that, is that?
That number, I don't know if that exceeds the chief's,
I think it does right now.
so we do the policy. 18,335.14.
I'll make a motion, we approve $18,335.14 for the repairs. That's noted.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Okay, Dropbox item number 9 is policy 14. This is a new policy. And I believe at the last meeting or last month, the board requested a policy for contracts and procurements. And so that's what you'll see in there. This is a policy from Brian Snurr. So I'll read a little bit here. This is a new policy for the district. It's recommended by the state auditor to have this policy, and Brian Snurr, legal counsel, drafted it. With this policy, the fire chief spending threshold is also increased. The board requested this at the last meeting, that staff draft a policy to increase the current thresholds. This is the first reading of the policy by the board. Normally, policies are not approved until the second reading. And so there's 2 pieces in there. There's the policy and then there's the matrix that's behind it. That kind of shows the process. It's a very complex matrix there.
I know last meeting we talked about just changing the number. What happens to that old policy, or does this replace?
We did not have technically a policy in place on that. So you just had set limits for the sheet prior to that. So this policy now will be new. And we can use it this way forward.
Thank you.
So what is our limit? I don't,
75,000.
I don't, show me where it's at.
It's
214.10 doesn't spell.
214.5 purchasing authority. From item section A there.
So, okay, thank you.
I like your attorney strike, please.
So
Or the auditor did recommend. It's color charts, man.
And those numbers mirror state policy pretty much across the board. Everybody else has.
Next meeting,
that sounds good. Good look. Thank you.
Next item is engine purchase. Following recommendations from Brad Osborne, our fleet manager, staff has been looking at ways to address issues with the fleet, specifically long build times and longevity of the fleet. We could purchase an engine off the line from Pierce in 2025. The final budget will be presented to the board next meeting and has funding allocated for that purchase. Board does not have to decide at this meeting, but Brad's here to present any information and answer any questions you have about them.
I got lots. What's the cost?
We are working on that, right? We have a cost right now, but we are meeting with the salesman this week to finalize the price. Right now, it's 900, like 920 with including the tax. But I look for that to be right there, or maybe even go down a little bit with some changes we're making. But he won't have a final number until we meet with him this week to iron out the spec line.
And this is not our spec.
No. Basically what they call them a quick turnaround pumper. So they are Pierce Sabers. Basically if you think of like autos, like XLT, Ford, you know, low grade, fancy, they're one grade below what we're getting. So they're like, they don't have command zone. They're a hardwired, what they call a hardwired truck. So they're the same, a Saber, so the same as what our cadet pumper is. And it has a certain spec right now, and we're allowed to make changes to it, but only to a certain degree. I think we can change 15 items on it, to make it as close to what we have right now as possible. If that makes any sense. Which is
Frank Windows?
I wish.
Air conditioning.
Which is what we're meeting with the salesman this week for. I think we meet with him next Wednesday, and that is to basically go over, you know, what we feel our 15 most important things to change are. And you're gonna see things like these current have hard hose bed lids. Well, this one don't, it's a tarp. So things like that is where you're gonna notice. To physically look at the truck, you won't be able to tell. Same color, same black stripes, you know, all of that. Yeah, does that answer your question?
What's the turnaround time for?
It would be delivered March 2026. So pretty much 1 year from right now.
And if we were to order like our spec, 1.5 mil, what's the price?
I think the last ones were like 1.2, 1.3, right in there.
Time frame.
But the time frame, we already have 2 ordered, and even though they've been ordered for probably 8 or 9 months, they're mid-year 2028. So even if we ordered 2 more right now, we'd be like 2030 probably.
I know we had talked about should we get 2 of these?
What's that?
Should we get 2 of these? Or can we get, like, isn't there a lottery system or something?
We can, but it's a lottery system. Hughes Fire is allotted 5 a year, 1 every 3 months. So, we've missed the first one for the year. They've got kind of our name on hold for the second one. If we decided we wanted another one, it would be three months after that. But yes, he did say we can get 2. I think 1 will get us by because we have the tiller coming in, which will take a velocity out of service. And then if we get this one, that will take the other velocity out of service to put in for reserve. So I think, yeah, 2 would probably be.
I just like the price.
Yeah, but I think 1 will get us by until the 2028 mark when we are getting our other 2. Okay.
More to come after your
budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think next meeting that we will have a hard, like, this is the price for approval.
So we're gonna have a budget to look at the next meeting. I'm extremely concerned about money. We haven't finished station 1. We've blown through our contingency, everything we're paying for add-ons is out of our budget. We have to have about $2.5 million in the bank in 2028 to pay for the 2 that we've already ordered. I'd love to buy one. I'm just saying, we don't know what the AV is gonna be next year. We might not get any increase in our budget. If the AV goes up 1%, we'll get 1%, and I'm not even sure it will. Talking to realtors and some other people out there that are saying, if anything, stuff might go down 1 more year, and we won't have any new money to work with next year. So I'm concerned about, I appreciate that when the truck gets here, we'll be running 3 engines of truck a squad. We can take one of those engines out of service, and we still have a couple decent reserves, I would assume, that some people would love to have. Anyway, you're gonna have to show me on the budget for me to vote for it.
And this will all be included with next meeting, the budget review. So.
And if possible, I don't know if you can project, but if we can project an increase of 1% of the budget next year and figure salaries, benefits, and all the other costs going up, if we could have some sort of a number of what that's gonna entail to make sure we have enough money to get through next year, hopefully year after will be better.
Sort of what you're asking is like a forecast.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to see.
0, 1%, 2%. But last couple of days, I've talked to a couple of realtors. An appraiser that I saw next door to my house. Stuff's not going up. Last year it went down. And if our budget doesn't increase, we got a little new construction, right? But if our budget really doesn't increase, what are gonna be our costs of the episodes or next year without much? Sure. Show me the money.
Mr. Chairman, question for Brad. And so if we didn't buy this, like, I guess, what's the need? Cause I do like, you know, listen, if it's 900 grand, but the next one we gotta buy in a couple of years, 1.5. You know, I share the concern, you know, that Brad has with the budget, but I also recognize that when they put percentage increases on these big numbers, it goes up.
Right.
Way more than we bring in, you know, on an annual basis, so. I would like to see them, you know, I think it's, if we can get it for this price point, and we can afford it,
Yeah, if we can afford it, I like.
yeah.
So my other question to you is, Brad, is we're having more breakdowns in older apparatus. At some point, you're not gonna be able to keep up.
Yeah, correct.
Then what do we do? Is it cheaper to look for an additional mechanic to help keep things on the road? Or is it cheaper to have you start farming stuff out that you don't have time to take care of?
Me and Chief Hebert are working on that right now to evaluate that exact, with a few of these bills coming in that are so high. Most of them are time restraints. Of what,
Because the last one you could have done, it just would have taken a considerable amount of time, you didn't have any help.
yes,
Plumbing.
with the current workload, with my current workload, I could do it. I think we could actually do it quicker than sending them out, most of them, with more help,
If you have more.
if we had more help. But,
Obviously, it's cheaper for you to fix everything in-house than to go to use or walk.
yes,
Well, pumps and transmissions and motors are different, but the plumbing issues, some of the stuff, I'd rather get you some help than start sending a bunch of stuff out to places that are gonna charge us a considerable amount of money to fix, that you could fix. Does that make sense?
I agree with that.
well, and I can tell you, I am doing everything I can to
We
do
know.
everything in-house.
We know,
So, I'm literally only sending it out for
we know,
time restraints or another set of hands.
Yeah.
So,
and we can buy more duct tape and baling wire.
Yeah.
I worry where you get your next person from.
hey, don't worry about that.
You were much.
Well, and then, you're going back to the factory and doing all that kind of stuff, which takes time. And I think you have another factory visit.
We do, in fact, I'm going to
This month?
Yakima on Monday for the squad. The squad is, well, you've seen the pictures on the squad.
Squad done?
The body's on it, so, me and one of the firefighters are going back there to, just verify the spec, make sure all the lights, so, and hopefully in about a month we have it, delivered. So, and we can start the prep for service on it then.
Do you anticipate being able to come back and present to us on your kind of forecasted needs then for the apparatus side of things?
Yes.
As far as help and
Hoping to, so,
what you would envision? Okay.
yes.
You know, and if we don't have the money and you have somebody to help, maybe we can keep some of the reserve stuff up to par so it slips in.
Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here.
Anytime.
Any other questions related to the engine purchase? More to come next meeting.
Number 10, Dropbox is pay application number 18. So this is a pay application for the Station 61 project. Pay application number 18 is in the amount of $93,796.22. This is the normal pay process and requires board approval.
Is it so low because they haven't been able to do any work?
Yes.
God.
Exactly, that's why.
Move for approval, 96,796.22.
93,796.
93? Oh, I see 93,796.22.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And last on new business, I had a schedule change for our meeting on the 18th, moving that to the 20th.
I'm good with that.
Good with that?
I am. We'll have to advertise.
I'll make a motion, we move the February 18th meeting to February 20th at 4 p.m. here at Station 6.
Second.
Aye. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Well, we need to see an executive session this afternoon. Roundtable good of the order.
My only comment, getting back to the mechanic thing, I guess I should have said earlier. If we're able to get him some help, that doesn't mean we're gonna open up repairs and stuff, everybody else in the county, do. Take care of our stuff first. If somebody has an emergency, we can help out is one thing. But I don't want anybody to think at this point that we're putting somebody on to take care of District 3 or Mark or anybody else before we take care of it. We have a big fleet. That's a lot of work and, don't want anybody to misconstrue
Yeah.
my wants, so.
Appreciate the work. you do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other roundtable in the order? Any questions, online?
I do not. see.
All right, with that, we need to authorize payment of current bills, reauthorization transmittal, authorize monthly commissioner compensation.
So moved.
Second, moved and seconded, all those in favor? Aye.